Hello, I'm Bob Cox, author of the Opening Doors series, educator, presenter, writer, teacher, and I'm really making this small short video to help with two questions that have come up recently. One is the use of concepts, particularly in primary English, and the other is access to rich, complex texts. Let's be enthused by the word complex, by the way, because it gives more scope for learning. I'm going to refer to Kitten and the Falling Leaves by William Wordsworth, which is in Opening Doors to Famous Poetry and Prose. So let's see if we can get this going for you. Um, okay, there we go. Slideshow from the beginning. Um, I'm going to focus on descriptive power as a concept. By a concept, I mean an aspect of English. So instead of doing a poem, doing prose, doing Skellig or Tiger, why not think about teaching an aspect of English and using the beauty, power, truth, profundity, whatever it is about that text to illustrate descriptive power? Why? Because you can link that up through sequencing to a whole curriculum. You can repeat the concept and just use harder texts. But it also means that all your teaching gains coherence. I'm just going to illustrate that in a small way by just going through a few things about Kitten and the Falling Leaves. This is the series. The blue book is the lead book, Opening Doors to Ambitious Primary English. The others add up to 80 units, which are frameworks which you can adapt, but they signpost the way to teaching ambitious, complex text for every pupil. And in a way, re-establishing the idea that that's what teaching is. Teaching is using texts which take pupils a little bit beyond where they are previously, in the same way that a new maths problem takes pupils just a few steps further on. Illustrations by Vicky Cox, my daughter, and we have so many of our schools using the illustrations as stage one. What kinds of themes might be dealt with? What kinds of vocabulary would you use to describe either the kitten or the leaves? It's an engaging starting point, and then you can zoom in. You can zoom in to just a short text. This is just part of a long poem, and I want to use the word exciting for comprehension. We've had years of analysis. Can we move into a world where talking about words, articulating ideas, using oracy for learning, and to become better at articulating as you're doing it, is just a wonderful part of an English lesson. And that is exploring meaning. That is a journey towards comprehension. Look at those words like sporting, that fascinating use by Wordsworth of a word that we often use as a noun, sport, and turn it into action, sporting. You can complement it with the picture, which shows the sporting. Could you do a choose and change on withered leaves? What other word would you choose instead of withered or lofty? Choose it, change it, then discuss it. One of our thinking engines we call mark, note, explain. So many ways in to learning about descriptive power that bring the beauty of the text alive. This is just an example, what I've written in there. I think the final column is important. The explanation may well come partly from you because we are emphasizing, teachers, expertise. We're not underplaying expertise by actually recommending talk, oracy, rolling round of words, discussion of visual literacy. It's actually making it more powerful when the teacher intervenes and says, right, now listen to me. I'll tell you more, because they're listening, they're involved. Mark a word that interests you, note what you think about it. The explanations can be as you wish, both teacher and pupil. See the kitten on the wall, sporting with the leaves that fall, withered leaves, 1, 2, and 3, from the lofty elder tree, through the clam and frosty air of this morning bright and fair, eddying round and round they sink, softly, slowly. One might think from the motions that are made, every little leaf conveyed, sylph or fairy, hither tending, to this lower world descending, each invisible and mute in his wavering parachute. I will leave it to you to find more words and phrases that are fascinating, interesting, that teach us more about descriptive power, eddying. I like the wavering parachute. Why not spend a little bit longer going deeper? I see a lot of lessons where there's a gloss over effect, moving on quickly without fully enabling the pupils to appreciate. And maybe appreciation is a word that we need to use more, along with exploration. It's a journey that your pupils make, supported by you, and you are constantly using your expertise to build both the skills of finding ways to learn more about words and the knowledge that is available from such a poem about style, about use of language, and don't forget punctuation. The punctuation really was a great support for me as I read that out. And the punctuation led the fluency. And that's something more sophisticated that you might like to consider teaching your pupils. The access then for all pupils is possible through the knowledge chunking, and I've only had time in this brief video to model a little bit, much more in the books, much more in our training sessions. Knowledge chunking, link reading I'm going to go on to in a minute. Some pupils could be given just single lines, a bit less, or more illustrations to support. There are more illustrations coming up in other poems about cats. And work on, for example, synonyms that can really help the meaning to go a little bit deeper on particular words and phrases. But the same rich text should be available to all. So access doesn't dilute, it makes learning possible. That's what great teachers do. In fact, that's what great teachers do even for the most able pupil. What seems difficult is made possible by great teaching. And linking in other reading. It could be effective descriptions from books like Tamarind and the Star of Ishtar, which we feature in Opening Doors to Ambitious Primary English, or classic literature, The Green Door, Journey to the Centre of the Earth, or other poems about cats. This is beautiful from Rachel Rooney. This is just a section. Teach me the language of cat, the slow motion blink, that crystal stare, a tight-lipped purr and a wide mouth hiss. Let me walk with a saunter, nose in the air. Look again at what you can teach about punctuation, leading fluency and therefore meaning. That's Julie Sargent's chapter on Key Stage 1 from the Blue Book. And we've got some other cats across the Opening Doors series. This is Eleanor Fargen Atterer, atterer, sleeky flatterer, spitfire, chatterer, scatterer, scatterer off her mat. It's completely different. And with lots of explorations of that poem, Louisa came up with this. Now remember, we've got on the Crown House site, go to Crown House, Bob Cox, click on any of the first 5 books, and you'll find lots of pupils writing. Eater, eater, sleek-furred sneaker, chaser, chaser, you tiny racer, cheeky chubby, ugly body, gitter, gitter, whiskery twitcher, biter, biter, dark grey scuttler, hiss, hiss. I'm going to leave you when you've gone over the video to read the rest. A completely different style. How do we teach children about varied styles in their writing? By immersing them in varied styles in their reading and by having in-depth discussions and oracy, learning dialogues in class. The meaning is in the reading. So you're improving comprehension the whole time by reading aloud. And even including picture books. Take a look at that slide. Please note there's no price tag on the alien. It's a wonderful story. It's wordless, but you can work with your pupils to actually add opinions, ideas, descriptive power onto the scenes. It's wonderful. And it's Mr. Waffles by David Wiesner. www.searchingforexcellence.co.uk. We need to be constantly searching for the means to make equity and excellence a reality. Hope that has helped your thinking. I'll try to produce some more videos answering questions as they come up. My email, bobcox@searchingforexcellence.co.uk. And enjoy your English. If it's a bit harder, it can be even more enjoyable with the access. Thank you.